Përshëndetje and welcome to Inside Albania with me, Alice Taylor. This week I've decided to tackle one topic, the real estate market, from renting property to buying homes throughout the country. This is a very hot topic and I have invited to the studio today, I have Ronaldo Piperia, a realtor and the chief executive of the National Albanian Real Estate Association. Welcome to Inside Albania. It's here, so prices are going to go up. But these are just a couple of examples I found which particularly stood out to me. So in Nistani Djetor area of Tirana, a 1x1 68 square meter apartment for 138,000 euros. And it wasn't anything really fancy, you know, it wasn't sort of gold plated or anything like that. It was a standard looking apartment. In Ali Demi, not far from where I live, 112 square meters, 2x2, 230,000 euros. Again, not... It looked modern, but it was quite cheap, in my opinion. It wasn't sort of high-end designer. Comuna Parisit, a 2+1, 113 square meters, 259,000 euros. This is high. If you think the average Albanian person is earning sort of, 500, 600 euros, something around this a month in Tirana, these prices are pretty high. What are your thoughts on these? You must have seen these on social, which is where you come in.
It's obvious that the government has a lot of homework to do.
All governments have a lot of work to do.
And for sure, because of being in Albania, we lack a lot of data. For example, if we talk today, if we try to find it publicly, we don't know how many dwellings do we have all over Albania. How many titles deed do we have all over Albania? What is a plot? What is, free plot? What is agriculture? What is, apartment building? What is villa? So we are trying to discover the market and to talk about the market, but we lack a lot of data. For sure, that figures they are part of the reality, but the reality is not all
not
about
just
that.
Yes.
Not just that. So we can go from Fresco to Combinat area, and you can find 750. 800 euro per square meter within the ring, the traditional ring.
This is getting less and less, and the more people see prices like this,
yes,
the more they're going
it's getting less and less. And if we see the 23rd, last year we saw that the prices has been like increasing a bit more quickly, especially in the suburb area. And plus, we need to understand that there are a lot of reconstruction projects because of the earthquake that has. So all of that demand has been like going in that part of Tirana. For sure, within the ring, prices goes from 1,500 euro per square meter to
the sky is the limit.
No, I wouldn't say that the sky is the limit. The highest price that we have seen in the sector has been like 4,500 euro, 5,000 euro per square meter, which there are only few buildings like that. Yeah. So we can count, we can go around Tirana, we can see there are only maybe 5 buildings in downtown area. If you can tell me more than 10 buildings with 3,500 euro per square meters, I will be surprised. There are few of them, only few of them. The general price, if we say about the average price in Tirana for buildings built up prior 2015, is around 1,200, 1,300 euro per square meter. The new dwellings start with 1,500, 1,600, and it goes.
But you're not counting as well these projects which are currently still being built, but they're being sold off plan for very high.
Yeah,
so then it becomes more.
We need to understand. So the real estate cannot be done out of TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. So we need to hire a professional, a realtor, to make calculation and to discover us all the options. And if you go from the Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram to the reality, for sure it is 20-30% less.
So you think a lot of these people
a lot of these prices is not the real price, especially if the property goes above 3,500. It is too difficult to be sold. So this is why we have the legislation. So it's been introduced in 2022, the new legislation for the real estate professionals. So now it is a time in Albania, like it is everywhere in the Western, go and hire a licensed realtor, and he will tell you all the options and the reality in the market.
Explain to people who are listening as well, you know, how we've got here, because there is a lot of debate. I have people saying, well, it's supply and demand. People want to buy, they want to buy. But then we have, 40,000 empty apartments, you know? So people want to know why prices are going
lately, up. December 23rd, 35,000 apartment,
It's a lot.
not empty. I mean, apartment both.
That's in
but
Tirana
with zero,
only or all of the country?
in Tirana only 35,000 apartment of people. I mean,
That's one
already
for every 10 of the
sold,
population.
Exactly.
sold, but with zero consumption of electricity. This is how we count.
Yeah.
This is how we count. Part of that, there are people which are living abroad, which already
Yeah.
have. So when they left Albania, and we've been talking a lot this year. People are leaving, but nobody is telling these people when are
coming
leaving.
back.
Are they selling their
Or-
properties?
No.
Let's see how much of them, because the future. I mean, when you leave the country, you need to understand if it is going to work there or not in the country where you are going. So
Prices be going up so
let
much.
me explain the
There are so
35,000 and
many-
then the prices. So part of that are people living outside of Albania. They didn't sell their apartment. They are part of the owners of the property plot. So when you exchange your property to a property developer, 40% of the new building it goes to the property owners, to the plot owners,
landowner,
to the landlord. So part of that, and when we said landlord. So if you are building 100 units, 40 units goes to the landlord. All of these units, we cannot say that they are going to the market immediately. So some of them may be closed, may be empty, because I do have 3 children, so I'm keeping that for my children, or I will send that in the market when the price has been.
They're buying for
bit-
investment purposes.
Yeah, and another thing that can explain another part of that, it is for sure stock of the construction and developing companies, which they're keeping their inventory, like in any other business. So I'm keeping my inventory, so the prices will go
Yes.
a bit higher. So these are at least 3 factors that can somehow explain this 35,000. It's not everything that. So because this is what we try to understand out of data. Regarding the pricing, we need to know that from 2008 till 2015-16 has been almost no constructions, no developments in Tirana. So it's been a demand for 7 years. There's been an accumulated demand that it came in a point of time that people goes in the market. There is a supply by the other side, so they've been like trying to invest. So other things are, we have been seeing, at least in the seaside area, a lot of foreigners. 25% of foreign direct international investment in Albania, they are coming for the real estate sector.
Yeah.
Part of that has been the financial sector. So if we go back in 2008, 2010, we didn't have such a supply from the financial sector. So we know today that 400 million euros come from the financial sector directly to the real estate. I mean to the new apartment, plus some easy loans from the central government and from the local government, like Tirana municipality. So there are 2 different factors that are somehow somehow empowering this supply. We have been seeing the remittances has been like growing year by year. Part of these remittances go to help the families, the young families. And you know that the housing in Albania, it is a problem, not only individual problem, but it's a matter of family and maybe a matter of a bigger family, where all together comes and try to help the new couple to get their new. Yeah.
But how much have prices gone up? Let's look back 10 years, 5 years, 1 year.
Let's say the highest.
How-
So if you talk about Tirana, so back in 2008, the average price in Tirana was 800 euro per square meter. They went down to somehow 650, 700 from 2008 to 15, and then they grew up again. And we are talking about so we try to divide the existing stock and the new entry stock. The existing stock went to 650, 700 euro per square meter in 2015, and now it is approximately 1,200, 1,300 euro per square meter. Because even the quality of construction, the way of being construction, they've been like changing a lot from 2015, especially after the earthquake.
Yeah, anything still standing is worth investing in.
Exactly. Because they passed the test.
Do you know?
We are trying. I mean, there is almost 2 years now that we are trying to talk. I mean, trying to send several proposals to the Ministry of Finance, especially regarding taxation and capital gains, and I mean all the scheme that will help normally the middle class of the society. So I know that within the city, especially when we're talking about that prices, there are really nice location. But within this nice location, you have a lot of communism area buildings. which cannot come to the market, or if they come to the market, they have a high burden of taxation because of this stupid thing called 15% when you sell your property.
gains, yeah.
And this is pushing. If we check the statistics from the cadastral office, National Cadastral Office, ASHK, we see that for 23rd in Tirana there is a decrease of 20% of the transactions, selling and buying, because the biggest part of demand is going toward the new buildings. Why? Because the old buildings, they are not anymore attractive. Because if I want to sell my old apartment, I need to have this big gap between the buying price at that time, the selling price today that in our area, it is 1,200, the reference price. And then for this big gap, you need to pay 15%. So maybe the gap, it is 100,000 euro, you need to pay 15,000 euro. And this 50,000 euro is going on top of the selling price. So the life is being, so if I'm a middle class, I cannot afford this because it's being more and more, so more and more difficult. So what I do go to the financial sector and I take a higher loan, higher mortgage, and go to the new building. At least it is new. So this is becoming more and more.
Even though I think the old buildings are built better, personally.
They are built better, but you need to invest. Even you get old buildings. I mean, you are living in an old building. I'm living in 40 years old apartment in old building too. So I know that in the end of the day, I need to put some more money for the acoustic and isolation and everything. So plus the high burden, taxation burden, so they are not anymore attractive. If you ask, I mean, to Narea, for sure we are toward the fair housing, and it is time to talk about fair housing, property housing in Albania.
The word there is time, because it's going to get to a point where of no return, and where people
it
are.
Is the time now. Do you know why? Because the average renting price in Tirana has been growing up 35%. Do you know why? Because the Airbnb things. That is like going everywhere around. I mean, 17,000 units already listed in Airbnb. So from the long-term market to the short-term market, you have a lot of homeless people that will go to rent, or we have a higher burden through a financial sector.
There was an article that came out this week from the Times newspaper in the UK, which I think was a bit unfair in some points, but raised many important points as well. It talked about the construction boom in Albania, which, I mean, you've mentioned there has been a boom in recent years, and I mean, anyone with eyes can see it. But the article attributed a lot of this boom to what it calls dark money. And this, we had someone from the National Crime Agency in the UK saying that money earned through organised crime in the UK is partly being sent back to Albania and being used to fuel construction boom, but also to purchase property as well. Some of the figures, 3.7 billion a year invested in Albanian construction and property, 15% of the GDP, but only 847 million of that passes through the banking system. That could be 2.85 billion in dark money. They mentioned as well the number of empty apartments. People need 64 lifetimes to save up to buy a small flat. But they're basically saying that the rate that construction is happening in Albania, there's something amiss here, and that money is coming from the UK, from the proceeds of crime, and is fueling this situation. So those are some quite serious allegations that the Times has made. What are your views on this, and what's the reality? And the last point
for me, it is like we need to understand that we have a great part of the economy, like that is everywhere. We know that countries like Albania, in Western Balkans, because of the mentality, because of the coming from the communism area, we do struggle with a great part of the economy, which, as far as I know, it is 35% of the overall economy. So when you have such a huge part of the economy in the gray market, so for sure there might be some misunderstanding and there might be loopholes for crime money. But we need to carefully study and really carefully estimate and trying to find where are the loopholes. And I do go back to the taxation, because a high burden is like incentives you, it's just empowering you and trying to say, okay, you cheat the government, because why you will pay 15, 20, 25% of taxation, let's try to cheat the government. And when you start with cheating the government, you don't know the end. So it might start with 5,000 euros, but it may go much more. So we need in the Balkan mentality, we need to understand a lower burden of the taxation, a wider taxation base. This is how we work.
But
For me, it's like if I'm not paying taxes, I'm not promoting do not pay taxes, but I'm just promoting have a fair taxation. So I'm not giving what should be given because I do think that this is not fair.
So you think it's too high?
For me, 15% of the
prices are very high.
For me, it starts with a capital gain taxation.
Okay.
If we do fight and correct
the United Kingdom,
I know what it is in Italy, 26%.
Exactly. So it's high.
No, it is higher, but there is some exempts. So if you sell your apartment after 5 years of owning it and after 5 years of staying in that, like primary residence, there is zero taxation. So no incentives to cheat the government. Why? Because
I think we have
I'm going to declare the right price.
Albania's property market is a lot younger than these other markets, and there are a lot of other different factors at play here, including these loopholes in taxation, in crime, in black money, all of these various things which come into play in Albania. It's sort of like a hypermarket. It's gone from 0 to 100 very, very quickly. And I think now, more than ever, yesterday is the time that we have to start putting these measures, these changes, these policies in place, because otherwise we have a demographic problem in Albania. People are leaving, and this is going to continue unless it gets better.
something gets done.